Was good, was good. Welcome to year 51 here with your host Jimmy. Another day in the jungle. Give us a like, subscribe, and also visit our webpage, goldenarboxing.com, for more news and stories. We got everything there for you, the best content on the web. And, we keep growing and growing. So, become part of our community. All right, so let's get to this real quick. So, apparently, Bob Arum said that he is willing right now to make a fight between Keyshawn Davis and Frank Martin. And he said that he will try to make the fight, but it really just depends if Errol Spence wants to make the fight. So we know that Errol Spence has been trying to, at least, I think he's pushed, but he's definitely spoken about a possible fight between Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur Stevenson said, okay, just send me the contract and let's make it happen. But I don't see from Errol Spence any initiative, because if you're mentioning that fight, why not just send the contract, right? I mean, if you're talking about it, if you're the one talking about it, then go ahead and just send the contract. No problem. So, no contract sent. Maybe he did, and we just don't know about it. I don't know. But Shakur Stevenson said that, that actually there was a tweet was going on, and Shakur Stevenson said, okay, I'll fight him, no problem. But then Keyshawn Davis, went in and was like, no, I'll fight Frank Martin, right? So right now, the one fighter who wants to boogie with Frank Martin is Keyshawn Davis, and I believe that it will be an excellent fight. Keyshawn Davis versus Frank Martin will be a really good fight. And if Errol Spence is the boxer that people claim him to be, that he's not afraid of taking challenges, then he won't have any issues making this fight happen, because this is a really good fight. Frank Martin doesn't have a world title. Keyshawn Davis doesn't have a world title. So let's just make it happen. Just go ahead and make a fight happen, because Shakur Stevenson right now, he doesn't have a actual, he's not like the undisputed champion or anything like that. Devin Haney has all the real belts. So even if he fought Shakur Stevenson for an interim or regular title, it doesn't really mean much, because those are like titles that you can rent. So just go ahead and just fight Frank Martin. And I think that will be an excellent fight. I think actually Keyshawn Davis does beat Frank Martin. And I think Errol Spence doesn't want to take the fight, because we know that Errol Spence, at least in this channel, we recognize that he does want no beef with Terence Crawford. That's all these negotiations and all the stipulations that he gave Terence Crawford. It just means that he doesn't want the fight. That's something that we see with a lot of fighters. Canelo, one of them. We see it with other fighters who put a shitload of excuses when there's a really good fight happening. So make this fight happen with Keyshawn Davis. That's not a problem, because you're this sort of fighter who's not afraid of any challenges, right? Unless you're going to lowball Keyshawn, which is okay, but it's not like Frank Martin sells a lot either. So that will be a great fight. So if Frank Martin doesn't sell a lot, Keyshawn Davis doesn't sell a lot, because they're not really known, why not make that fight? There will be a lot of people who would tune in to see that fight. It can even have its own pay-per-view. In fact, that's a fight for its own pay-per-view, to be honest. But if Keyshawn Davis fights anybody else, or Frank Martin fights anybody else, it's probably not going to be in pay-per-view. At least it's not going to be like the main event. So that's a main event fight, and there's no question about that. So hopefully this fight does get made. Bob Arum will try to push, as he tried to push also a fight between Crawford and Errol Spence. And at the end of the day, it was Errol Spence who, just didn't want the fight. Put in all sorts of excuses. Terence Crawford left. Then he became part of BLK. And now Errol Spence was more excuses, low ball offers. I mean, all sorts of no transparency in contracts. Everything that you would do in order not to fight somebody. So if Bob Arum contacts him to make this fight, there's nothing stopping Errol Spence. And if you're going by this A, B, or C, or A, B, C, D shit, A side or B side, as far as purse, then you're not a boxing fan. You're just a prostitute, because prostitutes only care about that shit. Only prostitutes talk about money like that. So you're not a boxing fan. So if you're a boxing fan, then you're gonna support this fight, and there's no excuse why this fight shouldn't be made. Anyway, so I support Keyshawn Davis. He wants to fight, so Frank Martin sure gave him the fight. That's just what it is. Peace out. Give us a like, subscribe, and also become part of our community. And see you in the next video. Peace. To the next one.